Welcome to Rock Your Talk. I'm Leisa Reid, your host, and I'm here with our special guest, Anthony Hitman Camacho. Welcome, Anthony. How are you?
Hey, Lisa, how are you? Nice to see you. It's always a pleasure to hang out with you, to do Zoom calls with you, speaking with you. It's always fun. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. We get to do this new thing. We haven't done it. We haven't done a Zoom call like this yet. So it's always fun to be innovative. And you know, Anthony's going to share some tips with us today about how you can write your own paycheck. He is an amazing sales coach and he's an author. We're very excited to have him on, and here are his tips. I also want to share a little bit about our show and what you can, couple of gifts you can pick up at our show. I'm the founder of Get Speaking Gigs Now, where I help speakers learn how to get booked, stay booked, and attract their clients through speaking. You can get tips, 5 top tips on how to get more speaking gigs now at GetSpeakingGigsNow.com. So that is one gift you can pick up. I also have the pleasure and honor of training and speaking at Productive Learning. And we have a gift for you there too. You can pick up our new course that we just unleashed called New Thinking for New Actions. And you can pick that up at productivelearning.com/gift. I'll put those in the notes there. But that's really, if you're thinking, I know that I have some thinking that isn't really helping me get where I want to go. I've got some habits or some challenges that I'm dealing with. And certainly that's true for a lot of us these days. You can go ahead and grab that course and watch it, and you're going to learn a lot about yourself, your healing, your feelings, your habits, how to create new thinking so that you can have new actions, so that you can have different results. So it's a pretty cool gift. I want to make sure and give that to you. And I'm very excited to hear more about Anthony today. Anthony, but I know you, but our listeners don't necessarily know you. So you tell us a little bit about you and what you do for people.
Well, I love sales. I'm the sales guy, and a lot of people are like, oh, another sales guy.
Sales guy.
But I love sales, and because not just about making money and making the sale. I love sales because you really can help people. Your products and programs, services, whatever you're selling. If you come from a genuine heart space to help and to serve, it's double rewards. You get to make the money and you get to help people. So
that's what
I do. Yeah, I love it too.
Yeah, I think it's really, sales, I've had so many different sales trainers over the years, and thank goodness I did. And I'm grateful. It's something I use all the time. And if you have your own business, you're in sales. If you're an entrepreneur, you're in sales. If you're an author, a speaker, a coach, you're in sales. I mean, kind of like, it's really, if you're a parent, you're in sales. If you're a spouse, you're in sales. So definitely tune in and listen to the tips. Now, I know you're going to give us some tips on how to write your own paycheck. And I think that's like a really, really cool concept. So tell us, what's your first tip on how to write your own paycheck?
Absolutely. So the first most important tip that I want to share with everybody, entrepreneurs, sales managers, CEOs, salespeople, speakers and coaches, is remove hesitation. That's the first one. That limiting belief, that little limiting belief that goes into your brain and basically kills the deal before you even start. So that is having the mindset. But if you pull that mindset back, what do you mean by that? Peeling the layer back of what type of mindset you should have is remove hesitation. Is just to go out there and create the opportunity for yourself, and don't talk yourself out of it. So if you're going to talk yourself out of it before you even get to the plate, you're going to lose a lot of deals. And unfortunately, that happens a lot. You talk yourself out of a deal before you can even get there. So remove hesitation.
Yeah, like you work with a lot of salespeople, and I know you travel all around the world training people. What do you think are maybe like 1 or 2 of the top things that because hesitation can seem very subtle, I think, and people might not catch that they're hesitating. So what are like, you're hesitating when you do what?
Well, you're hesitating when you start second guessing and doubting yourself. Maybe my product isn't good enough, or maybe they've been with my competitor too long, or I'll never be able to get in front of the decision maker. So all of those little things, any thought that's going to keep you from moving forward to close the deal, to get in front of a new prospect, then you know exactly that that's a limiting belief, and there is the hesitation they need to remove. Also, the false idea of you have to be perfect in sales in order to close deals. It's really about just being genuine, understanding what the prospect needs, and basically aligning your product, you know, with that prospect's needs, wants, or fears, or what have you. So it's really all about having that mindset to be okay with making a mistake and trying and being persistent. Remove hesitation.
I think like one thing that I'll hear people, because you know I work with a lot of people with mindset, so sometimes that'll come up. Like it's a we'll say like, well, how many calls have you made today? Like, oh, I want to get this many sales, and I need this many appointments and this many phone calls. Like they know the numbers, right? And I said, well, how many calls did you make? And I'm not doing sales training. I'm just saying like these are things, you know, as we're talking about like that, what's getting in the way of their goal. And they're like, well, I haven't made any. And sometimes, so even that, I think if you are in a sales situation and you have yet to pick up that very heavy phone, right? Or send an email, for crying out loud, or send a text, or if there's something that's you're not even reaching out and noticing that you're not reaching out, that would be where you would want to call Anthony, because right, like oh wow, I want to increase my sales, yet I'm not even hesitating. I'm not doing anything. I'm hesitating to do any of the actions that need to be done, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So that's what I'm talking about, is just the very first step to start increasing your paycheck is to remove hesitation. Okay. Go out and be productive, take some action. Don't just do nothing, because doing nothing is a guaranteed flat line for your business.
Yeah, if you don't ask, you don't get, right? Like it's a definite no. If you didn't ask anyone to buy your product, you're not going to get any sales. So it's like when you're talking about writing your paycheck, it could go two different ways. It could be zero. Like if you're paying zero, then well, okay, you want to increase it, right? I know you have another tip too. What's your second tip for us?
The second tip is, and you kind of lightly touched on it, it's mastering your closing ratio. And it's super important. And so everyone has an idea about how much money they want to make, right? So I want to make X amount, you know, I want to make $10,000 a month. I want to make $15,000 a month. Well, that's phenomenal. That's great. Congratulations. How are you going to do it? So basically you have to reverse engineer. You have to understand what products, programs, or services are going to equal that $12,000 or $15,000 that you want to make. Okay. And then you have to do another reverse engineer to figure out, well, how many presentations am I going to have to say to create the sale? Now, reverse engineer a little bit more. How many follow-up calls am I going to have to make before I even get to a presentation? And then even before that, how many new people do I need to speak to on a monthly basis? So the formula is to master your closing ratio is you have to set a goal for new blood to come into your pipeline every single month. Without a doubt, you need new people. And then from that new line of prospects, how many follow-up calls are you doing? And then from those follow-up calls, there's going to be another closing ratio for presentations. And we all know just because you do a presentation doesn't necessarily mean you're going to close the deal. So therefore, you have to figure out how many presentations do I need to do to sell X amount of products, programs, or services. And then you can start creating a prediction of what your paycheck is going to be instead of guessing. And that's the second really huge important tip, is master your closing ratio. Make some notes, make some goals. You have to be recording your production, because if you're not recording your production, then you're guessing and you're shooting in the dark. And when you guess and when you shoot in the dark, that's when discouragement comes in. That's when the mindset of lack and scarcity comes in, because you do not know where your target is, and you're you're swimming desperately in the ocean instead of going nice strides to your destination.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that in the sense of really getting clean on your numbers. And it's funny, and I just to clarify or to help people in presentation, I mean, that could mean a bunch of different things, right? A presentation. So for those of you listening, that might be a phone call to a prospect. It might be a speaking engagement. It might be a panel that you're talking to, or going into a company and talking to the decision maker. So a presentation in this conversation can mean a lot of different things, right? So whatever that presentation is to you as a listener, how many of those would you need? And when some people are really, really good one-on-one, some people are better on the phone, some people are better speaking, you know, in front of an audience. So I think that's a key too, of like, if you have your own business, like, well, what do you want to be doing? Like, what are you good at? Where do you seem to have your best closing success? And like I've had clients where they don't want to call anyone on the phone. So I'm like, okay, well then we're going to take that out of here. I mean, yeah, that's a tricky part, but we're going to lower the barriers to entry here then. Okay. So then what are we going to do in order for you to get comfortable, or what other kind of strategies can we do to make that easier for you?
Right. So like, super important. If you're a speaker, then, you know, you help a lot of people out, Leisa, with, you know, their speaking gigs, how to get speaking gigs and their talk. And so it's absolutely imperative that if your speaker wants to sell whatever program or service, they have to get booked. They have to get on the stage. They have to talk to people. So the more stages they get in front of, the more new prospects that they could capture.
Yeah.
And right now we're dealing with strange times right now. And so we need to be taking advantage of technology as you are. So learn to sell from video, get new prospects that way. So we need to exhaust every single avenue. The goal is to get new prospects every month. So what are you going to do? You're going to do video, you're going to do email, you're going to do text message, you're going to use social media, you're going to do Zoom, you're going to use all those mediums to hit your quota. And then from there, start going into, you know, the formula to create that paycheck that you want.
Yeah. And I love that you mentioned that, because, you know, it's funny. I'm just probably a natural networker. I enjoy it. You are too. And that's why we get along. One of the reasons why.
One of the many.
Yeah. But, you know, I never have a problem finding new people. Like even today, in fact, I'm like, oh, I got to follow up with these people. But I'm very strict with follow-up. I'm very, I try to, people just come into my natural funnel, whether they're all prospects or not. Sometimes, you know, sometimes they are, sometimes they're strategic partners. It doesn't matter, but I just welcome people into my world, because you never know who can be connecting you to somebody else. And I think that's another thing too. It's like just being open. And if you have good systems, like what you're talking about, that makes it easier to keep track of all that stuff, right? Because otherwise, if you're like using the Post-it system, you're gonna be run out of Post-its pretty quickly, and I would imagine not following up as easily. So, okay, cool. So we're like right on the same track here. What's your third tip? Tell us about your third tip.
The third tip is equally important to writing your own paycheck, which is create mental market share.
What's that? I don't even know.
Super important.
Yeah.
Create mental market share. That means that if you're out of sight, that you're out of mind. You want to occupy space in your prospects and in your customer's mind. You want to have mental market share within their mindset. So when they think about whatever product, program, or service that you provide, your name's going to come up. So if it's going to be, you know, how to get speaking gigs or speaking, Leisa Reid's mind should be popping up in everyone's head.
Yeah, did you guys hear that?
I just put a little seed of mental market share for everybody.
Oh, I love
that.
How to
get speaking gigs.
Mental market share. I love it.
Yeah, so
I actually, it's funny that you mentioned that. So I didn't know what you meant, and I'm like, oh, I love that. I have, it's not on this particular background that I use, but another one. It was like, what do people say? Oh, you're like, they'll tell me, oh, you're the speaker person. Like you help speakers, you're a speaker coach, right? And I'm like, sure. Yeah. That's what, and I mean, I have a title, I'm founders, you know, all those things. But when I realized like, that's what people are listening for or hearing out there. You help speakers. Someone told me I need to talk to you. That I'll get that. So what do you get on there? You get like, because I know you like the, you know, Anthony Hitman Camacho, which is very clever. And is that like, how do you get the mental market share for yourself? What do you do?
Basically it's creating touch points.
Mm,
So touch points with whoever your niche is, right? Whether your niche is on social media, whether your niche is, at a Fortune 100 company. My clients are also Fortune 100 companies. So I do multiple touch points to create mental market share. It's like, I see Anthony pretty frequently. He's not a pest. He doesn't bother. He's not overbearing, but he tenaciously and persistently follows up.
mm-hmm.
And it says statistically, and it's not my statistic, but there is a sales statistic that 80% of deals are closed on the 12th contact. Now, in that 12th contact, what are you doing? You're creating mental market share, familiarity, you are creating rapport. And 9 times out of 10, you're being seen more than your competitor,
Mm-hmm.
because you make it a point to go in there. Now, you're doing this for, I recommend you follow up with everybody, but certain products that you have would require more mental market share and more follow-up. So if you're going to close a $80,000 deal, well, then you may be very, very upbeat about doing 12 points of contact, because you're going to close an $80,000 deal that is residual every year. So, and if you have some speaking programs or coaching programs that are worth $2,000 or $10,000 or $15,000 or $18,000, you may want to figure out what is your sweet spot that you really want to make that decision to go and follow up with. But you have to make a record of, take a record of your 10 most, I don't know, the 10 deals that you really want to close. Like, these will be different, game changers, difference
Mm-hmm.
makers in your income and for your lifestyle. Make a list of those 10 and make a note up to 12 times of points of contact. And it's a point of contact is having a verbal interaction, whether it's on video or whether it's on the phone, but it's or in person, having that interaction. That counts as a one contact. When you send an email, a text message, post on social media, those are just little seeds. Those are little touch points. Okay. So there's a difference between that, and that's how you create the mental market share.
I'd never heard of it in terms of the difference of verbal or email. I know, like, right now, we used to, back in the day, it was phone or person, right? In person, or door knocking, literally door knocking, right? But now right now in August of 2020, we're not necessarily in person, certainly as much, mostly not in person. So then I like what you added with the video, and even, I mean, gosh, it was maybe just 12 years ago that texting was becoming the preferred way for a lot of folks. I know some people don't check their voicemail. Some people don't check their email. I am not one of those people, and I don't know how they make it, but it's a very big reality for some folks, which is, okay. And, texting or social media messaging seems to be the way to get to them. But
as long as you're getting as long as you're getting a response, some communication back and forth, that would in my humble opinion equate to one of the 12 points of contact.
So like if they're volleying the ball back to you, that
correct.
Like if you're actually having a conversation or an engagement of some sort. But if you're just emailing them or whatever, calling them and leaving a voicemail 12 times, but they have never called you back, that
doesn't count.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Got it. I love that. Okay, that's good. You're like, I called them. I parked outside their house and they still didn't want to do business.
Like, I called them 12 times in a row, like every hour in the hour to midnight. I didn't close the deal.
Why did they not call me back? He said 12 times.
No.
Yeah.
and you know what? And here's the thing. Sometimes you close the deal. You don't have to wait till the 12th contact. A prospect may buy. Yeah. So, I mean, sometimes you close the deal on the first contact, the second, the third, the fifth. Sometimes it's even the 15th contact. It just depends how bad you want that deal. And just depends what that commission is going to be like, So
I have this, I'm going to ask your opinion on something. This is maybe really, I don't know if this is different than what you recommend or not, but so I'm pretty good at follow up, and I've got I'm a CRM lover, love
good.
contact relationship managers, client relationship manager software, for those of you who aren't familiar. And there's also, so there's a strategy that I have in this like kind of like technical following, a system. And then sometimes there's an intuition that comes in for me where I literally am like just about to like, okay, when should I reach out to them again? And I get this like, I don't know, is this ready to be let go? Like, what do I feel when I want to reach out to this person? So I sometimes I tap into my intuition to decide if I want to keep, kicking that can, metaphorically speaking. And I know, but what's interesting, and I kind of track this, not officially, but like mentally, I kind of track this. Sometimes once I let it go, they call me or they reach out to me. Like once I'm like, you know what, I'm going to just let them decide if they want or whatever. Anyway. So I don't usually talk about these things out loud, but it's like, or you're like the expert here. So what do you think of my system? Yes, no.
I think it's great. I think it's great because that's a hesitation
Mm-hmm.
that you are overcoming, right? There's nothing wrong with a touch point. And I know you. I know you're not a pushy person. I know you are a strategic person that follows up.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, when you do follow up, it's in the right tone, it's in the right space. So because you ignore that hesitation and you go and do, you've actually experienced results. So it goes back to my first tip to write your own paycheck is remove hesitation.
Yeah.
You have to just remove it. I can't even tell you how many times I've closed so many deals. I'm at the end of my day and I'm like,
one more.
it's like, I'm like, look, I've done well. I already kicked some butt today. I've already made my appointments. I did all my quotas. And there's just that one thing that's like gnawing. You can do one more. I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. Like I'm done for the day, right? And I'm telling you, I have closed so many deals at the end of my day by going that extra mile or just fulfilling that hour. And I ignored my hesitation. I ignored my intuition of just, you're okay, you're good. And so I would highly encourage everybody to, when you hear that little hesitation to do less, do more.
Okay.
Move the hesitation, do more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I love your perspective. Okay. So I have one more question for you. This does not have anything to do with writing your own paycheck. Our show is called Rock Your Talk. So I got to ask, who's one of your favorite rock stars or rock bands? Audience wants to know.
Rock stars or rock bands? Oh my goodness. There's so many.
I know, that's why I said one of your favorite. I know you have
one of my favorites. Oh man, I think I'd have to say, it's such a hard question. But one that just, the band that's created the mental market share in my mind is Metallica. I love Metallica.
They have. You are correct. In fact, I just heard they're going to do a drive-in show over by their corporate headquarters up in Northern California.
Really?
So I did hear you guys. I know you like to road trip, so
yeah,
maybe that'll be in your future. Yeah, Metallica is an amazing, very talented band. So
what about yours? Who's yours?
Oh my God, same. I have so many. It depends on the day. I love the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. I started there, and all the way up to I listen to modern stuff too, everyday stuff. And I love Pearl Jam and Fleetwood Mac and Pink Floyd and like so many. But I like that question because then I get to learn more about the guests.
No, it's a great question. You should probably wait. Who's your favorite rock band on Monday, or when you're cleaning the house, or when you're driving?
Like on a car. Yeah, like who do you could always put them in the car and listen to it and never get tired of it. I might modify the question. Good point. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you for your tips. You got to write your own paycheck. If you're wanting to know how to do that and how to get a hold of Anthony and how can he help you, Anthony, I know you have a little surprise for our guests. Tell us about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you'd like to get a hold of me, you can email me at hitman@camachocoaching.com, hitman@camachocoaching.com. And the incentive that I'm offering everybody is if they go to Amazon and they type in Anthony Camacho into the search bar and they purchase one of my books, it's going to help you make more money, help you write your own paycheck.
That's right.
I will give you a 20-minute sales strategy of how to grow your sales, grow your business. All you need to do is just leave an Amazon review and one of the 6 books.
Oh, very cool.
There you
Look
go.
at that. How neat. So not only do you get a book that's going to help you, you get to help a fellow business person by writing an awesome review. You also get a 20-minute coaching session to help with your sales, and however you want to write your own paycheck, or if you want to add a 0 to that paycheck, however that is, Anthony can help you figure out how to do that. Thank you so much for being a guest on our show. To all our listeners out there, make sure you are kind to yourself today if you haven't done that yet, and be kind to somebody else too. And we'll see you on the next episode of Rock Your Talk.